welcome to part 3 of our series on revisiting the research on meaning therapy we did at the Center for Addictions and very often for mental health disorders as well. So one of the results that we found with the research, which is a really interesting one, was that the participants seemed to have developed a sense of who they were and started pursuing what was personally meaningful to them. But at the same time, they recognized they had to deal with other people. And they had to live in a world, really, over which they had no control. So it was this interesting dynamic happening about how do you become an individual? How can I be me and yet live in this world over which I have no control? And if you think about it, this is a fascinating development because someone with an addiction, generally, one of the entire purposes of using drugs is like to obliterate the self. I mean, lots of the participants in our study said that one of the great benefits of being intoxicated was all the pressure that they found, all the, the squirrel going around in the head, all of that disappears, right? So that who they are as a person goes away. If they're an anxious person, if they're a depressed person, all that just melts away under intoxication. And so how do you change this? And so through this idea of discovering what they authentically wanted in life and how to pursue it and how to deal with other people through the relationships, they built up this idea that somehow they had to be themselves but live in harmony with others. And I often borrow this image of a jazz band to try to help people understand this, is that in a jazz band, everybody is in harmony, but everybody is an individual. So it's not an orchestra where people are assigned parts to play. In a jazz band, the soloist just goes off and and improvises, followed by the next soloist who goes off and improvises. And each of them is creative and each of them is unique. So each of them is being himself or herself, but all of them are in harmony with the whole. And this idea, I think, is important according to our meaning theory, because if you want to live a personally meaningful life, then you have to follow your values. Yet at the same time, you have to recognize that you exist in a world that is basically created by other people, that has lots of rules and things over which you have no control. So that was an interesting result we got from the research. And we'll be back next time with the last in our series on revisiting the research we did at the Center.